Okay, here's the next wand video I said I was gonna do of the next 5 wands I've made. Okay, here's this one. I call it the key wand because if you look right here, it has like a wind-up type key on it, and it was different with this one how I made it, because when I was shaving off, well, these next wands are the wood that it's made out of is the same as the wand number 3 and 4, a thornless honey locust. That's what it's made out of. But this one was interesting because when I was taking off the bark, I got it to where I wanted to, but then there was these little grooves where it was kind of, the wood was kind of like powdered, like it was rotting away or something. So I had to remove more until I got all that out. And so what I did, in those grooves, I took glow in the dark crayon that I've had since I was a little kid. I don't know where you can get them now, but it's the Crayola brand. So yeah, this is what I did with it. As you can see, the pink and the purple. The dog just walked by. But anyways, you can see the pink and the purple. It was really kind of difficult melting it and getting it in there. But then I left this groove, and this back groove that goes all the way to here. I left that. I coated it. Well, what I did was I took embossing powder, 3 different colors. If you go to my blog, there's details on how I made it. I can't remember the exact brand of the embossing powder, but it was a green color, like a gold color, and a blue color. And the blue color just seemed to take over. So it's all sparkly, and this glows in the dark. And I used the Sculpey glaze. I mixed it in. I put like several coats. Then I put a few coats over that to make sure the embossing powder's covered so it won't flake off. Then this is hemp cord on the handle that I wrapped around and I glued it on with E6000, like I did with everything else I glued on my other ones, even the ribbon right here. And I used Mod Podge on the handle part right here, the black, to seal that in. And that's how I did this one, basically. That's how this one turned out. And I have a feeling, because these wands I may or may not, I'm just thinking of selling them here where I live. There's a shop where I'm thinking of selling them to. But this one specifically, I don't know who, but I have this feeling that this one needs to go to someone special. And I'm not sure who. I just have this big feeling. Someone needs a wand, and I don't know who this person is. But this one, I have a feeling this needs to go to that person. And this little bumpy thing, how it's like this, is because it was a knot and I didn't cut it straight. So it turned out like that. That's how that happened. So this was wand number 6 I made. And here's wand number 7. If you look at this, awesome. Wand number 7. Yeah. Well, when I was removing the bark, well, what I usually do when I remove the bark, I use the, after I remove it, when I do the sanding on the tip and the end of the handle, I usually start out with the cement on the porch and just round it off. Then sandpaper and Dremel and whatnot is what I've been doing lately. So, as I was removing the bark, I ended here. If you look at the design, yeah, how it turned out like that. It ended up like that, and I was like, that looks cool, so I left it. And the shape, if you see how this is shaped like that, that's because when I was cutting the wood, I was cutting it on the angle here. Then when I turned it and I cut it this way, it didn't cut straight. So that's how it ended up like that. It didn't cut straight. And how I did the swirl like that, I took tape, like regular clear tape, and I taped going around like this until I got to the tip. That's how I did my other wand. Yeah. And this time, instead of using the chisel like I did my other one to chisel out like this, I used the Dremel tool because this was really thick and really hard to do. So, and I always sand them to almost the finished sand before like doing a swirl or any other kind of work, because it makes the process a lot easier when you're towards the end. So, plus I did sand it and everything, and all the wands are covered in the Sculpey glaze. And yeah, and there's a hole right there, that natural hole. So that's this one, wand number 7. And this one was kind of, yeah, okay. I had this idea with right here in the middle of it being rounded like if there was a ball on it right here, but I couldn't get it to get rounded like that. So it's turned out like this. Then what I did is I shaved this part down more towards the front here. Then before I did the handle, then I was like, something doesn't look quite right, so I shaved down the handle. And the same thing here happened when I was cutting it, like, because basically it was like this, like, let's see here. No, it was like this. Here we go. Yeah, it goes like this, this. Then this one was right here like that. And so when I was cutting it off, because they all came from the big long stick, it did the same thing. That's how it's this shape, like that. And I did the sanding and everything like I do with all of them on the tips and the ends here, and using a Dremel tool. But then I was watching some other people's videos, and I was like, that would be a cool idea to try. So it's like I wanted to start here and end here. So I drew a pencil line going around. Then I used the Dremel tool to Dremel it out, which was really difficult trying to get it straight, and it never, yeah, it didn't go perfect, but that's the beauty of handcrafting, because it's not perfect, and that shows that it's handcrafted and not machined. Then how I got the black, I took a candle, charred it on, used a stick lighter to touch up some spots, and right after I charred it and got everything the way I wanted, And as you can see, it was hard to get cleaned up through here. But it turned out pretty nice. Then I sealed it. And for a while I didn't know what to do with it. So I ended up having an idea, and I put the green twine on this one. And it was about like this much long extra. About like, yeah, that's folded here. And because I wanted to hang something on it, I didn't know what. And for some reason, the thought kept coming in my mind about like a pentacle. So I made one out of polymer clay. It's the red pearl. It's the color, and it's sparkly. If you get it in the right light, it's sparkly, but it's hard to see. But yeah. But I was trying to put a crimp bead here, and it was too small. Then this part ended up snapping. So I sandwiched it all right here with an excess piece of an eye pin. It's like how there's an eye pin right here, and I can't use the rest of it, so I keep this extra pieces to use for other things. So I sandwiched it in between like that. That's how I did this one practically. Yeah. So it's all sandwiched together. And I had to put Mod Podge on it right through here to protect it. So, yeah. So this is wand number 8 I've made. Then this one I just barely finished. I think it was Saturday I finished it. Wand number 9. This one's very, very, very interesting. It was curved, really, really curved. And I really wanted to try a different style of handle, because I was wanting to do a flatter handle instead of round. And I was like, because I wanted like the sides also flat and the top flat, but this was, because this part of the wood was, yeah, the big, huge, long stick. It was really extremely difficult to work with because how like the tough the wood is, how thick and how strong it is. It really was hard to carve that out. As you can see how it's flat, kind of rounded in. Then if you look at the handle, it's kind of on a taper. Like right here, it's tapered a little bit. Yeah. Like kind of off center. So then after I did that and sanded it and everything, I was like, I want to try some wood burning, put some like designs in it. And I didn't know exactly what designs to put in it. But because I started learning tarot, in January started learning tarot. And I have the Steampunk Tarot by Barbara Moore, illustrated by Ali Fell. And I've got several inspirations from it. Like one piece of jewelry I made on my blog. It's my steampunk pendant I made, the last one. Then it gave me the idea to put the 4 elements right here. But because it was the very first time I've ever done wood burning, it was off center, this one right here. You can see if I cover how that's centered. This one should be down a little bit more. Yeah, you can see how it's off. Down, and it needs to go down and in. Then how it's a little more burnt and charred right there is because it wasn't quite even. I couldn't get it sanded correctly, but if you look, it's the 4 elements. yeah. Like earth, water, fire, and wind. I just keep forgetting which one's which. How this has the line under here and this one has the line up there, and then the other two doesn't have the line. Then the wand was just sitting there and sitting there and sitting there for some time. For some reason, I kept thinking of the infinity symbol. So I burned it on right there by hand. I didn't use the number 8 to burn it on. I actually burned that by freehand. Actually drew it on with the pencil, then I freehanded the rest over that. Then that sat for some time after I did that. And yes, I'm going to say this because it really, really happened. And sometimes this is a place where people get inspiration. And it's, yeah. I was going to the bathroom sitting on the toilet. That's all I'm going to say. I was in the bathroom. I was going to the bathroom, and as I was sitting there doing my business going, I was like, it just came to my mind to have, with the twine, have it like wrapped around, then going into the X like this, then an X on the bottom, an X on going like this on top and bottom, and stopping at the infinity symbol. So I wrapped it right here, and as you can see how it's an X and it's going around like that. There's 8 on top and 8 on bottom. But then I let the process, because I left it longer so I had enough to use, but I let doing the process dictate how it's going to be, how the wand wants to be. So instead of stopping at the 8, I did it right after. So you can see it's right here, the figure 8, infinity symbol. So yeah, and that's how I got the inspiration for that. And I did glue it on with E6000, which I did a dry fit, and I left it dry fitted on and put the E6000 on that way. Then Mod Podged over that 2 coats, and it's because it's really like when you use the twine, it's really frayed. So yeah, so I did that. And that brings me to my last wand, and this is my last wand, the 5th one, not the 10th one. It was just, I removed the bark like I always do and do all that process, and I wanted it colored, so I used it's like washable marker and just did that kind of a design on it, light blue and dark blue. If you can quite see that, I don't know if you can see. There we go. Light blue and dark blue. Then I put Sculpey glaze over that. And I wanted something hanging here. This is beading thread it's on. And they're beads I made out of polymer clay. Purple and silver. So that's how I did this one, practically. So this is wand number 10. And I finished this one before I finished this one. So yeah. So that's wand number 10. And yeah. So that's my second set of wands I've made. So until my next video, comment, rate, and subscribe, and check the link to my blog, because there will be blogs on all the wands that I made in more detail on the process, how I made them. So, and any other things I have made or posted. So, check out my blog, follow me on my blog, and comment, rate, and subscribe.